The shadow play. The ego on death row. Adam Grant is not just a man, he is everyman. More precisely, he is the man, Adam. The one who carries the ancestral guilt of the so-called original sin. His very name is a map. Adam humanity. Grant. Given. And what was Adam granted? The dream of guilt, the nightmare of death. Grant's protest is not against dying once. It is against dying over and over again. This is why shadow play is more than a courtroom drama. It is a metaphysical parable. What terrifies Adam Grant is not the electric chair. It is continuity. The endless recycling of guilt night after night, courtroom after courtroom. The execution is not the end. It is the reset. The play doesn't stop. It simply reboots with the same script, the same verdict, only new masks. The past is always the crime. The detective rakes through corpses and shadows, trying to solve what cannot be solved because the past cannot be changed. The present is always the trial. The relentless courtroom where the ego prosecutes, demands testimony, and calls witnesses that are only shadows. The future is always the execution. The slow walk, the dread, the promise of release that never releases. Past, present, and future collapse into a single instant. The crime, the trial, and the sentence are not spread out in time at all. They are happening now. This is what the Course calls the unholy instant. Time as one simultaneous act of guilt. And yet the dream can't even keep its own story straight. The cracks show through the curtain. A prisoner on death row has a watch he should never have. A steak becomes a roast, as if form itself cannot decide what it wants to be. The trial, the sentencing, and the execution all occur in one day. The dream contradicts itself, but the characters accept these absurdities as normal. Because the ego always demands belief in impossibility. Grant notices. He says, "That's the way I saw it in my mind, so that's the way it is." That is the mechanics of projection. That is the mirror of perception. The mind imagines and the world conforms. The shadows are not his toys. He is theirs. Grant believes he is playing with shadows. But the truth is the shadows are playing him. Every character shifts roles. The editor becomes the priest. The inmate becomes the judge. The prosecutor is both the accuser and the condemned. They are interchangeable masks. This is because the dream itself is guilt rearranged. It does not matter who wears the robe or who carries the collar. They are all guilty faces of the same belief. Grant insists, "If I die, you die." And in a sense he is right, for the dreamer holds the dream together. When the dreamer withdraws belief, the courtroom collapses. The jury evaporates. The gavel falls into silence. But here is where Grant misses the key. He believes attention sustains the world. The Course takes it further. It is not attention that holds the dream. It is guilt. Without guilt, there is no Adam. Without Adam, there is no crime. Without crime, there is no courtroom. Without the courtroom, there is no shadow play. That is why the world does not end when you stop looking at it. It ends when you stop believing in guilt. The ego thrives on continuity. It is not afraid of death. It is afraid of forgiveness. Because forgiveness ends the loop. Death only resets it. That is why Adam screams, "Not again!" He is tormented not by one death, but by an infinity of them. Explanation does not end the play. Grant explains it every night. He explains the cracks. He explains the absurdities. But explanation without forgiveness is still guilt. That is why he cannot wake. Even Father Beeman appears, a priest who died years before. And yet here he is again recycled in the dream. Religion itself is pulled into the loop. A priest's collar becomes a juror's face. A prayer becomes a sentence. Grant even tells him prayer is needed in the real world, not in a nightmare, because the spirit does not answer illusions with more illusions. Richie, the district attorney, cannot believe Grant. He cannot. If the dream ends, Richie ends with it. His role depends on the courtroom being real. This is the ego's terror, annihilation of its own identity. That is why awakening is feared. But the ego cannot maintain its own theatre without cracks. Pop Goes the Weasel plays faintly in the background. The gavel is nothing more than a carnival toy. The sentence is nothing more than a jack-in-the-box waiting to pop. The props are mockish and corny, as Grant says. Trite, banal, sentimental. That is the ego's drama, a shadow play. The true terror is not execution. The true terror is continuity, because continuity is the ego's immortality. The only escape is forgiveness. Forgiveness withdraws belief. Forgiveness collapses the script. Forgiveness ends the courtroom. Without forgiveness, Adam returns to the chair again. And again. And again. Rod Serling closes with the line, "We know that a dream can seem real, but who is to say that reality itself might not be a dream?" That is the metaphysical hammer. The dream can seem real, but reality cannot be dreamed. So the real sentence is not death. The real sentence is guilt. And the only pardon is forgiveness. Until then, the shadow play continues. Night after night. Courtroom after courtroom. Role after role. In the Twilight Zone.